morning, everyone. I have some good news for you because probably I believe this is the last speech, so you all will have to bear with me. Good morning, everyone. Chief guests, Professor Lama Vansa, President of BMS, Dr. Vijay Vardhana, Vice President of BMS, Dr. Samara Nayaka, other distinguished guests at the head table, directors and faculty members of BMS, parents of the graduates, my fellow graduates, ladies and gentlemen. Firstly, I would like to thank the directors of BMS for inviting me as a guest of honor. I consider it a great privilege, and I'm deeply humbled to be in your midst on a momentous day like today. It's encouraging to see the energy that I can feel in this room while you're about to start your journeys. Since I've given the opportunity to speak today, I wanted to share 3 things that have helped me in my professional career, because I believe your diplomas and your MBAs that you have got today is going to be just the ticket to enter the race of your career. So I want to share some of my thoughts. It was not long ago that I was seated where you all were and where I am today. I would like to share, so hoping that you all can take some of these ideas or thoughts that will make a difference in your lives. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is the importance of having a dream and how you define it. Now, when you talk about a dream, everyone, it's a very cliched word. Everyone talks about dreams, everyone talks about YouTube videos, so many about motivational videos about dreams. I'm going to use a different word. It's a word that I generally use as it's a life purpose. So it makes a little bit more sense. There's a, if you all, well, although you all don't believe this, 150,000 books on Amazon are sold on understanding your dreams. The top Ivy League universities, even the business schools, have formulated programs that can teach you about how you formulate your dreams, the lifelong progress, and still, some people find it difficult to get there. So it's not something that it's not just a dream, but it's something that you have to give a lot of thought. And I'll tell you 2 reasons why you need to do this. Number 1, we're humans, we're used to routine. So what happens if we carry on with our lives, letting everything go, come for your studies, come for your lectures, go back home, meet with your friends, and then suddenly there are things called disruptors that hit us when we least expect it. And I'll give you a couple of examples. 1 is you lose your job. 2, you go through a massive financial crisis at home and you can't afford your education. 3, you can lose a loved one, a parent. 4, can go through a very bad breakup. These things make massive difference. Today, all of us are facing a pandemic. These are disruptors that hit you completely from the path that you've chosen for yourselves. And what happens is when you don't have a dream or a life purpose, suddenly 2 months after you do your grieving, you come back, you realize you don't know where you're standing. You don't know where you're going. So that is one reason why you need a life purpose and a dream. The second thing is, consciously or unconsciously, what you don't realize is when you have a dream in front of you, a true north, every decision you take from today will be aligned to that decision, that dream. Whether it's the education you decide to take from this point on, whether it's the job you decide to take on, whether it's your partner you choose, where you travel, all these decisions will align to that dream and that lifelong purpose. And that is why it's important that you have this dream. So I'm going to tell you, how do you define this dream? You don't need to buy 150,000 books from Amazon, and I don't get a cut out of Amazon, by the way, although mentioning it today. There is a more simpler way of doing this. And it's like choosing your dissertation topic or your last case study subject that you decided to do. If you ask your lecturers, how do you come up with your dissertation topic? the first thing they say is take a piece of paper, write down your topics. But it's very confusing, right? You have finance, you have marketing, you have HR, you have innovation. There's so many subject areas. How do you come up with a dissertation topic? So similar to that, your dream is very similar. Take time. This is not something you should take lightly. Take time, take a day off, sit down in a room alone or go somewhere that you all are comfortable. Write 5 things that you all would like to do, that you all are passionate about, that you all are motivated about. And write 5 things down that you would like to do in your future, in your career. The second thing you all need to do is to jot down some of your strengths, what you all are good at. Ask yourselves. There are also things called personality tests, like the DISC profile. Do one of those. It'll help you to learn so much about yourself. You'll realize whether you're a dominant person, whether you're a great influencer, whether you like to be affiliated to people, whether you're creative. And automatically, you have 5 things you want to do, you have your strengths, and then you start connecting the dots. And believe it or not, if you spend enough time on this, you will find your dream. Right, so one thing I want you to do is, when you do come across that dream or your life purpose, I want you all to write it somewhere. Write it somewhere that you all can see it, so that every day when you wake up, you see it, right? It doesn't have to be something you have to share with everybody. Share it with your parents because they might help you get to that space one day, or your best friend, or your partner. But it's for you. It's not for anybody else. It's for you. The reason I'll tell you this, because I like to share my life experiences as well. So the age of 19, 20, believe it or not, I wanted to play for Sri Lanka, cricket. Look where that got me, right? I didn't get there, but at one time I did. Not that I woke up one day, saw Tendulkar getting 100 and wanted to play for Sri Lanka, but I played at college level for Sri Lanka, and my dream was to play for the country. Played for SSC, but at that time there were so many wicket keepers. The 3 wicket keepers were Kaluwitarna, Kumar Sangakkara and Prasanna Jayawardena. It was an easy choice for me to, think of another dream. So what I did was, then I was fortunate enough to get an opportunity at a really good company, MAS Holdings. I'm sure all of you all have heard of it. It employs the biggest labor force in the country, close to 100,000 after the army. And it's one of the world-class facilities that produce the best garments and lingerie for Victoria's Secret, Nike and Gap. So I joined the management training program and I went for this interview. And then my boss, who I was going to work for, I can mention his name, he's Nathan Sivagananathan. He also gave a speech at my wedding, so I'm very close to him. He became a CEO at 29. So me being arrogant and cocky at the time, I was like, I want to be a CEO at 30. And the reason I said at 27, 28, I became a group general manager, and at 30, I became a COO. I'm not saying this to boast about myself, but the reason I'm telling you is that dreams are attainable if you put it in front of you and you know the path to get there. Right? So I'm going to just park that there for the moment. The next thing, how do we achieve a dream? So, this conversation, interviews, this story all of you all have heard. When someone is asked at an interview, where will you like to be in 7 years or 5 years? The joke is they always say, I want to sit at your seat, right? Famous conversation. But the difference is, do you really know what it takes in that 7 years to get there? Is something a lot of people don't know. So, what do you need to get to that dream in 7 or 5 years or whatever you choose to do? Firstly, dreams without goals will always just be dreams. 7 years down the line, you'll be at a senior executive or assistant manager level and suddenly realize, oh my gosh, I had a dream 7 years ago, but I'm not even close to where I wanted to be. That's because you all have a dream, but you all haven't broken down your life goals. Life goals are yearly, monthly, weekly, and daily. You need to have every day a goal. When you get up in the morning, You have to be motivated to get out of that bed and get into what you need to do. Get moving and get to your goals every day. To do that, you need to have three things. One is discipline and commitment. Discipline and commitment will only get you started in your journey. It's just a starter. But what's going to get you to that finish line is consistency. Consistency is not as easy as you think it is. To wake up, you don't have consistency of putting in work on a Tuesday and Thursday and think that you're going to get there. It has to be every day. Maybe you can take your Sunday off, right? But if you want your dream and you want to achieve it fast, that's what it takes to get there. Yeah, so that's one thing. The other thing is work hard. Hard work works. So I tell my colleagues at office and all my teams that work with me, I always tell them, don't take shortcuts. A lot of us like to take shortcuts to the top. But I'm telling you now itself, shortcuts are very short-lived. Because what happens, ladies and gentlemen, is that you might get to a manager position by being very good with your boss or cutting someone's legs off so that you can try and get there. But what happens is when you have 50 people reporting into you, young, qualified people like you, coming into your teams, you're going to get exposed and you're not going to last. So don't take shortcuts. Take it from me, hard work is the only way to get there. And I think Professor Lama once said that. He's a great example of that, and he'll tell you what it takes to become a doctor, a surgeon. So, and as you know, medical doctors have to study even at this point to keep themselves updated, right? So it's a thing that you have to do every day. Hard work, there are no shortcuts. You think it's easy? It's not easy, right? The faster you accept that, I'm sure all of you all getting through these diplomas, your MBAs, I'm sure you'll have put a lot of work into it, right? But it's frightening at times, but also it's very rewarding, isn't it? So when you put the hard work in and you get to where you want to be, it's a fantastic feeling. So that's the way to do it. End of the day, you have to give it everything. Your time, your talent, your prayers, your energy. And that's what you will have to do to get there, right? Because end of the day, it's not about what you have, it's what you can do with what you have, right? So it's important to know your strengths, know where you want to go, and put it to the test. I want to put a small thing out there. Remember, if you want to get to a place, to get something you never had, you got to do something you never did. I'm going to read that once more. To get something you never had, you got to do something you never did. So if you feel that you're doing something and you're not getting somewhere, then you need to start doing something a little different. I'll give you another example of my life. While I was working at MS 5 years, I'd only got one promotion. And I was wondering why. But it was just probably not the opportunity I had or whatever it is. So I had to make a big call. And after 5 years, I decided to move out. It's a fantastic company. Both my bosses came and told me don't go. Everyone told me don't take it. But I took the chance. And I think at 27, I took that decision to take on a general manager role. It was a big risk. What would I know at 27? But you have to take those chances when you get the opportunities. And that has been probably one of the best decisions I took. So when you get the opportunity, do these things that I'm asking you to do. Because if you want it, you got to go out there and take it and claim it. The last thing I want to leave with you all is staying relevant, embracing change, recreate yourself, and navigate your life transition with courage. Okay, let me tell you a few things about what that means to all of us. Staying relevant, it's important. I think Dr. Vijayavardhana mentioned this about staying relevant. Because the world is changing so fast. And you have to learn, even for us, even being at where we are, we have to constantly keep updating ourselves. Because what happens is you don't want to become a dinosaur, right? Because the people who are younger are more qualified, They have a lot more personality, so you need to keep yourself relevant. Today, if you look at the top topics that people are talking about, is communication in the virtual age, marketing strategies for influencers, climate change. They talk about the metaverse. So many very interesting subject areas where a lot of us are still learning, reading. So it's important to keep yourself impressed with what's happening. Otherwise, you become non-relevant. So it's important to stay relevant. For that, what do you need to do? Change. Change is very difficult. And we realize this every day in our workplaces. People don't like to change. Because why? We are human. We like to do routine. We like to be in our comfort zone. So change is not something we really encourage or embrace. But one thing I want to confirm to you all know the only constant is change, right? Change happens no matter whether you like it or not. Again, I'll tell you, the pandemic is a great example of it, right? And the reality is, fear of change is also a constant. Does that make sense? We don't like to change. So we have that fear of change. So that's also constant. But it's important to have that mindset to change. Why do we need to change? I'm almost there. Because I'll tell you why. We always believe, or we like to believe, that life is linear. You know, if you go back in history, before the 1900s, we humans believed in cycles. Life was a cycle. Why? Because agriculture was a cycle. In the early 1900s, in industrial time, people believe that life, you peak at one time and then you go down after your 50s or whatever it is, because that's how industries are. But up to the 90s, studies with science coming in, people like to believe, up to the 90s, believe it or not, people believe that all of us will have a very linear life. We'll have one job, we'll have one relationship, we'll have one thing that keeps us always in the same place, happiness. But the reality is, studies have proven over and over that life is not linear. Life is always like this. So therefore, this is why change is important. While change is important, you need to have the tools, the right tools to be able to change and have the flexibility to accept change. And if you don't have that, I assure you, companies and individuals will fail. The companies and the individuals who have the ability to change, to adapt, be flexible, are the people who will survive. And that's something I want all of you all to adapt, because more than even when we were where we all were, change is happening so much more faster with technology and so many other aspects, right? So you have to fuel yourselves with the right tools, the right mindset to make sure that you all are ready to accept change. But you know, a very important thing is that change is not a bad thing. And I can tell you another thing. We actually underestimate the ability to change. And I'll give you two examples of it so it makes more sense to you all. The person who drives in Sri Lanka, you all know how exciting it is to drive in Sri Lanka, right? One of the best. People are not disciplined, correct? But that same person goes to Singapore. He's not going to eat chewing gum. He's going to get to the train station at 11:44 and leave at 11:47 because the train will leave at that time. If you don't make it on time, you miss your train. That person adapts. But they don't do it here. So people have the ability to change. I'll give you another example. I'm a father of two. I have a beautiful daughter and a son. When people get married, they think life changes. No. When you have kids, things change for the better. But the difference is, everyone who has had kids, you can talk to your parents who are here today, the ability for them to change, to commit, to sacrifice for two people or one person, it happens automatically. You're breaking rest, you don't get any sleep before going into work the next day, but everyone does it. So we have the ability to change and adapt. We have it. But the thing is, we don't accept it. So we have the courage. What you need is the courage to change, and it's very, very, very important, right? The last thing that I want to leave with you all is, while you are changing, it's important to recreate yourself. So I'm going to give you another example through my life. What my goals and dreams at the age of 20 to 30 was very different to what I had from 30 to 40. I'm 40 now, okay, I gave away my age, so that's okay. Believe it or not, today, it's funny that it's 10 years, or say 23 to 30 and then 30 to 40. 10 years is not a reason to do it. It's not symbolic or anything like that. It just happened to be my life, right? It could be very different to you all. Today, I'm in a very similar place as you all are. At 40 to 50, I'm in a transition. I think all of us who have gone through a pandemic, I think all of us have gone through a transition. Correct? We have all changed. We have all reset. We have changed at least one thing of what we used to do before. So we are all transiting, including me. So I am planning now my next 10 years. Where do I want to be when I'm 50? So I'm in a similar place as you all are. But the difference is, I'm going on the premise of what I just spoke to you. Number one, I will sit down and draft my dreams. I'll write down what I want to achieve. Second, I know the hard work and the effort and the goals I need to set in these next 10 years to get to where I want to get to. The third thing is that I know the changes I have to make in my life. Like I told you, if you don't change what you did before, you're not going to be able to adapt. I know what I need to do, and I'm working on it starting from January. And then, once you decide to go behind your goals and your dreams, don't look back. Just jump right in, give it everything you have. Because at the end of the day, life is about experiencing things. Nobody is going to look back in life and say, you know, I'm so happy I didn't do that. But you're going to regret if you didn't do something. You're going to think, I should have tried that. So take that chance, give it everything you have, and you know what, believe it or not, if you meet me somewhere at some point and you all took these points, come and say that you all actually learned something from that and you all did something in your life, I'll be the happiest. That's really important. Before I close, one thing I want to leave with you all. Dr. Jayawardena as well as Professor Lama wants to send this. So Dr. Jayawardena said that you all are global students. Very important. Go out there, go out of the country if you can. Get your education, learn what you need to learn. But again, like Professor Lama once said, I believe that at some point you all need to come back. This is our country, Sri Lanka. I love this country. And I believe that we can all make a difference someday. And you all are the future generation. And you all have to come back, contribute to take this country to where it's supposed to be. And I believe in my lifetime at some point we'll get there. I strongly believe this. So it's important that you go get what you all need to do, come back and contribute to this country. It's very important. And remember one last thing. This journey is yours. Don't let anybody else define your life and your life story. You need to write your life story. Because one day when you look back, you need to be clear that this is what you wanted to do. And that you start now. Very important. Do it now, because end of the day, you are the master of your fate and you are the captain of your soul. I'll say that once more. You all are the master of your fate and you all are the captain of your soul. So hold on to it, take it, claim it, and you know you all will get there faster than you think you will. So thank you very much. I want to congratulate all the graduates. Congratulations for all the hard work you all have done. I want to appreciate all the parents for committing, sacrificing your time for your children. Congratulations to all of you all. BMS, I want to congratulate you all. I'm so happy to see the university doing so well. I'm very proud to be here and honored. So thank you very much for the opportunity. I wish all of you all the very best. Thank you.